Howdy, y'all. So, let's get more into observation with my last post because I revealed one little mystery of all the mysteries. And I also want to express to everyone, you see why I talk in the car all the time. You follow me a lot. Every time I'm at home, it just seems that when I'm really channeled, when I have been channeled to receive a message. Let me remove my gum. You hear that, peeps? So you can't deny that what I say is the truth. You can't make this up. There's just no possible way. You cannot make this up whatsoever. So so what I was about to say and share, thank you, powers that be, thank you, guardians, thank you, watchers, thank you, Father. So going back, reiterating messages, so you guys understand why I do one-on-one with camera in my car, because my car is in my control and nothing can intervene on these walls that travel because everything is coming with me. When I'm in one spot at home, and I kid you not, you guys, like, I love my apartment unit, but everything else around, it's really annoying. And I've been trying to express to my neighbors, because they're good friends of mine, I'm just like, you all, I love you, but your pets are annoying. I can't sleep. You guys are constantly on the wrong schedule. Most of them are the millennials who cater to the, tribal, festivities and all that jazz. Anyway, so I really wanted to share with everyone about, there was one thing that I've forgotten to mention in the last video, which would have made sense of everything, even though the specifics and details were really great for what it was on that topic of Saturn and the sun. But you guys have to understand that in astrology and astronomy, the alignments and I didn't want to do that simple, sorry. The alignments and placements of the planets, the planetary bodies, the binary systems and whatnot. Every single one of those planets has a reaction to, us humans. There's a whole different biological response that we have. Every time there's a full moon, things happen. Some of us have date night. Some of us, we go back to people who we gotten over, or we find old habits. There's relapse. There's need to go out and have fun or socialize. These are all past things that regress as we're emerging from those past cycles and patterns, if that makes any sense to you guys. So whenever Mercury goes retrograde, everyone's aware of it. And if you're not aware that people act a certain way around Mercury retrograde and full moons and eclipses, then you really need to wake up, because that's the whole purpose of why people worship and idolatrize. Oh, catch the bus, dude, catch the bus. Yay, he made it. That's the whole reason why people worship the like Saturn and the sun, for instance, because this planetary body has such an influence on many people. And if you lived here, let's say 5,000 years ago, and Saturn was much closer to the Earth, or if Saturn were in place of the sun, let's say 20,000 years ago, if that existed, it was making you act and behave a certain way, so you had no other choice but to integrate with it. Kind of like me and my pesky, I'm just being funny, but me and my neighbors. So for example, I like where I live, but I just can't stand that they interrupt my sleep all the time. But they're not harmful people, and they're not cynical. They mean no harm to anybody, and I totally understand that. So I have to try to integrate with the environment. So let's use that for example as a metaphor. My landlord. I wish I can tell you guys so many stories about. I can't say anything. That's horrible. Because if I do, then yeah, it wouldn't be good. But let's just say, sometime in the future, when the whole show pops off, I'll be able to tell you guys how close I was to the greatest deceiving entity of all the world. Let's just put it that way. The ushering ends. But anyways, back to topic. Landlord is in charge, right? There's a certain way we have to open the gate. There's a certain drop box in the laundry room where we have to drop our, rent. It's his system. We can't use water. These rules were not regulated by the property management company. They're regulated by the landlord. So, and every time that we do our own thing, because we pay our own rent, it is our own territory, we still get bombarded by this person who really justifies what's moral, immoral, and absurd and appropriate according to how he perceives you. And you're constantly under surveillance, and you're constantly being investigated by his psychological perspective, his psychological biases, which is, it's sad, and it's horrible. He is a genuine person, but his actions, because he is a certain particular age, that's why I always tell people, like, you shouldn't be tripping off Donald Trump, because there's many other 70-year-olds around the world who have more control over people, and we don't have a choice but to compromise, integrate, and shut up and deal with it, right? We can't do anything to take someone like that down. So planets have different gravitational pushes and pulls, which then influence the molecules, the biology, the water in our bodies, and we act a certain way. And sometimes, like, impulses like that and frequencies like that, you're talking about the planet, Pluto, versus your body. Of course, you are going to explode or pop off. That's just how it is. I'm at the bank. So keep in mind, when you guys are watching a lot of these references to the Old Testament and religion and things like that, you have to be mindful to separate yourself from what you've been told and try to uncover these truths. And I'm glad that I'm here to help you guys lay it out, because when the truth is laid out, you know how to receive more information, you know how to filter it, you know how to sort it out and respond to it. Let's see. 1 second, everybody. Yay. So yes, nope. All right. You guys, like, it's no joke. I have so many hats that I wear, and sometimes like it gets overwhelming because I'm just like a regular person who has been pushed and forced into the public eye because of what he does with his talent. But then my talent is allowing me to see all sorts of people from all over the world, and I'm learning and seeing different perspectives. And so with that said, I'm learning how to guide myself, and I'm happy to be an example for other people who are following me. But I like the perspective to be, if people are following me, for example, on YouTube, we are sharing information. We are equal. Like, we're in this together. It's not me being the teacher teaching you guys. It's really, it's kind of like a department store. Look at my manager, by the way, who just texted me. He has access to my phone. You gotta believe that stuff sometimes. You have to believe it. You have to believe if someone had that kind of pull, in terms of collecting your data, knowing a little bit about you, or having a cousin's, neighbor's, uncle's grandmother who works, for, Apple, and she's at the top of the top. We do have like an Apple, I'm telling all of our business. We do have like an Apple person in our building, and of course they could probably like wiretap or go into my phone to, I just don't care anymore. Like I think once we really learn to apply the Christ consciousness into our biology of our body, we really marry ourselves to the truth. It really doesn't matter what the garment on the outside does. It really matters about your actions based off of what you feel on the inside. And if what you feel on the inside is pure and true to assisting Mother Earth to move forward, get out of this third dimensional paradigm, then you're doing what you need to do. I was just watching Global Witness Derek, and he was talking about it shouldn't be about focusing on like what you should and should not eat, what you should and should not wear, and all that stuff. It's really about survival, and you got to do what you got to do. But as long as the driving force that is guiding you to lead others to the I don't even like to say the light, because I always think that's Luciferian, but we want to guide people to the greater good, the greater truth, the reality of why we're here. It's getting out of this prison. So that's all I really wanted to extend and share with you all, is the influences of these planetary bodies and binary systems and whatnot. And they have, I guess, the strongest ones like Jupiter, Saturn. That's how the Greek mythology labeled them, these gods. Jupiter was Zeus, of course, and Saturn was Kronos, of course. I think Pluto was Diana, or one of them. But then, I really encourage you guys, if you could navigate, look for Sailor Moon, the cartoon. Yay, Sailor Moon. It's re-released on Hulu, but I like the old school version, because that Serena of the old school, she was my girl. But they lay out the absolute truth in Sailor Moon. That's why I think I was so attached to that cartoon, was because there was something that was speaking to my soul at that time as a child, but I never knew what exactly I was being familiarized with. But you had the Princess of the Moon, which was the daughter of the Moon Kingdom, which was above that, but no one really knew like her parents. It was just the mom was the Moon Queen, but the father, who was the father, he was a mystery. But I navigate, but that there was what's her name, the Sovereign of Silence. It was the black, what's her name, Sailor Saturn. She was the destructive one. She was corrupted. She was upset. She was, her peace was interrupted. She knew how to kill instantly. Those were the powers that, you know, Jesus tapped into, you know, in his uprising of his gifts. Well, there's a alleged story about it. But then he was brought up and guided himself into his own ascension of what was the right thing to do. So if you can play a weird storyline and say you had this creation that came from a divine masculine Saturn, and integrate it into a divine feminine of unknown sources who was the divine feminine, I think the divine feminine's coming in. It could be this whole Nibiru or whatever you guys are trying to say, or the blue star Kachina and whatnot. There's a source that is coming back from whence it started. So you see how we're getting more truth, and we're getting more conscious, and we're becoming more aware, and more people are tuning into what we're saying, because this new planetary system, or this new crossing of the solar system, is coming over. So the way that things were before in the beginning, we're returning to that on an astronomical perspective, tangibly and spiritually. They have to go hand in hand. That's how origin of creation was begot. Anyways, I hope you guys understand a clear perspective. I meant to say this in the last video, but for some weird reason, my videos have been cut off at a certain point. I guess I'm graduating to, you know, the level of the gremlins. So sometimes, like, I'll be in a really deep conversation, recording a video, and it'll just stop all of a sudden. Or what was happening today when I was trying to upload the last video, it kept saying error uploading, error during upload, cannot upload, the error occurred. But it's okay, because I remember everything that comes through my system from my divine source. So I love you guys. See you in the next video, and take care. Dig for those truths, or play this video back and play the last one back, revealing the mysteries.